Good afternoon to those here at Yankee Stadium, to those watching on pinstripebowl.com. Welcome to the New Era Pinstripe Bowl Head Coaches Press Conference. Tomorrow will mark the 10th annual edition of the game. We're excited to have Michigan State of the Big Ten and Wake Forest of the ACC. It will be televised by ESPN and broadcast on ESPN Radio. Kickoff is 3:20. For information about the game, including links to purchase tickets, please visit pinstripebowl.com. Allow me to introduce our head coaches, Mark Dantonio of Michigan State, Dave Clawson of Wake Forest. And before we launch into our Q&A, you guys got to spend some time earlier today ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. Additionally, your team participated in community activities earlier today. Can you, before we start, tell us a little bit about the bowl activities, what you've experienced, your student athletes, your traveling party. Tell us what it's like to have been in New York this week.
Well, from Michigan State's perspective, many of our players have never been in New York City, so they've had an unbelievable experience. Going to the World Trade Center and the memorial there and the museum there, having an opportunity to go to the Stock Exchange this morning, opportunity to experience a community event, theater type event with the Rockettes. But just their experiences at the Pinstripe Bowl have been tremendous. Great bowl experiences. I can't say enough about being appreciative of what Pinstripe Bowl has done for us, and we're thrilled to be here, and we have a great opponent waiting for us.
And I would echo what Coach just said. I mean, for our players, over half of which have never been in New York, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And I really want to thank the Pinstripe Bowl. Things are incredibly well organized. The activities are very unique to New York City. Certainly going down to the 9/11 memorial was, emotional. I was living in New York, working at Fordham when 9/11 happened, and one of my players passed away in the first building. So to be able to see his name at S33, and share that with our players, that many of which we're now getting to the point that they were just born or not even alive when 9/11 happened. So the historical significance of the event. And that was, I think things like that are really important. That they make that part of the student-athlete educational experience that happened with bowl games. So again, we're grateful to everyone associated with the Yankees, the Pinstripe Bowl, for providing that type of experience for our student-athletes.
Thank you, coaches. We can take some questions now. John, in the center.
How you guys doing? You've both been lucky enough to be able to teach the bowls multiple times, obviously. When you look into what your players experienced over the last few days, what have you seen that made this unique for them?
Well, I think that, first of all, coming to New York City, as we said before, many of our players haven't been in this type of environment. I think the other thing that's important, the bowls that we've been to, there's been a little bit more downtime, lag time. I think that when you step outside of our hotel, you're in the midst of it. And you're in an area that's full of commerce and a lot of different things, a lot of tourists, things of that nature. So it's a very active area, and I think our players have experienced that and appreciated that fact.
I mean, there's no such thing as a bad bowl. Every bowl is special in its own way, in the way that a community embraces you. But just the diversity of activities that you can do in New York City. I mean, I've told our players you could live here for 100 years and still have something new to do or something you haven't experienced before. And I just think the whole range of things, just to play a game in Yankee Stadium, to go to the Stock Exchange, the 9/11 memorial, to go to Radio City and experience the Rockettes. I mean, that's the quintessential New York Christmas experience. And there's certain things that can't be duplicated anywhere else, really in the world. And for our players to experience it, a lot of them have never been in a town with a building more than 8 stories. So just when they look up at the World Trade Center, all of those things, when you see it in their eyes, you become very grateful for the experience that the Pinstripe Bowl and really what playing college football provides to them.
Thank you. Front row.
Dave, what's the formula for when they first get here, they want to see everything and see the tall buildings, and then getting them to kind of focus as the days
get closer to the bowl game and zero in on the football game they've got to play.
Yeah, that's the challenge of every bowl, is that we want to make the bowl experience fun. We want this to be something they look forward to, and it becomes a motivator during the season. So we've kind of had a formula that we try to install most of the game plan before we get on the plane and come up here. And then there's that, 48, 72 hours when we get here, we want to enjoy the bowl experience. And today's the day it really flips from a field trip to an away football game. And that's where you hope the leadership of your football team is mature. The walkthrough today is focused. And traditionally, when you play away games, you don't go out and see the sights. It's just all about the game. And with about 24 hours to go, we've got to be able to successfully flip that switch for our football team to play a really good football team in a couple of, a little more than 24 hours.
Yeah, front row.
You guys got to experience a little bit of a walkthrough out there today with the stadium. How do you see that in terms of sight lines, and how much does that prepare you for the different environment of playing in a baseball stadium?
Well, this is the first time we've ever played in a baseball stadium, but very fortunate to be in Yankee Stadium, which is iconic. I think a lot of our players have grown up hearing about it, but never seeing it, and to be able to take an opportunity to play in that. Field's gonna be 100 yards long. It's gonna be, 51 1/3. So we're ready to go, and I think everybody's gonna play on the same field. So we'll adapt to big sidelines. We've got a lot of space between your sidelines there, but we'll adapt to that, and it's what's going on that 100 yards.
Is there anything visually with the baseball stadium versus the football stadium?
No, I don't think we'll have a problem in that area. I know the end zone seem a little bit tight on the corners, but so is Spartan Stadium. So.
Second row on the right.
We talked a little bit about momentum and what this can do moving forward. Has this felt a little refreshed, getting away for a little bit, then coming back? And do you feel like this is something that can do that can kind of be that springboard?
Yeah, absolutely. Any bowl game, the goal is ultimately to give your student athlete a great experience, but the goal of any bowl game, I think, is to win. And we've been on both ends of that spectrum, and there's a difference. So, it'll propel you forward as a program. If you're not fortunate enough to win, then you've got to regroup and you move forward anyway. But 2020 is around the corner, and that's new opportunities for a lot of different people.
John, staying on this side. John,
Kind of along those same lines, are there things that you guys have seen in the practices so far that are, in addition to tomorrow, also getting you excited for 2020, just in the ways that you've seen some of the young players in your team progress over the last few weeks?
Absolutely. When we practiced back on campus before we, knew we were playing Michigan State, in some ways we use a portion of those practices almost as spring practices for our younger players, our freshmen, our guys who redshirted, just to see how they've progressed. And a lot of those guys have been running scout team most of the year and not even running plays with our terminology, looking on cards. So, just to see their development, since really fall camp or summer camp. Yeah, I mean, it's the nature of what we do is, you're always looking to the next game, the next recruit, the next season. Part of what you do for bowl prep is you're trying, at this point, a lot of our older players, our 5th year guys or 4th year guys have played a lot of football, and there's a lot of reps, and we give them a chance to maybe rest a little bit and collect their breath. And it gives us a chance to evaluate some of the younger players in our program as we start evaluating for our 2020 season and beyond.
front row.
And Mark, was it either Darryl or Kevin Jarvis, either of those guys from anybody that was out late in the season you expect to be back or ruled out for tomorrow?
Yeah, Kevin Jarvis won't play, so he will not be able to play. He's not been able to play really since his injury. So, but Darryl Stewart might make the bell. If he's practiced, so it'll be an opportunity to see how he is at game time. He has practiced. He is functional, but it's just how much has he practiced.
And with Devontae, is there any rethinking to burn the red shirt or keep it?
Yeah, we're gonna try and hold on him, but we'll see how it all shakes out in the game, you know, we're on to our 7th offensive tackle, left tackle, so, you know, but, he's practiced, he's ready to play, should he need to play, but I think we'll be okay at that position, well, try and hold.
One and two.
Mark, you had, a large group of seniors and guys that have played a lot of football for the last 3 years. How's this week been in terms of going through that last practice yesterday with them and just knowing that the end's near for some of those guys?
Yeah, you know, I think that, first of all, as a senior, you know, you've got to sort of set the tone for your football team as you go through things, good and bad. And they did a tremendous job in terms of holding things together when things haven't gone so well. I think that that's a tribute to them and their character, what they've been able to accomplish. But it was an emotional day yesterday, a little bit towards the end of practice. It always is, because we sort of try and make it like that. Because I think that it's important to recognize they're leaving one stage of their life and moving into another, whether that's professional football or professional life in general. It's going to be a change, and I think they need to be able to embrace that and say their final farewells a little bit to our players. Because what's unique about a bowl experience is so many of our players graduated mid-year. I'm sure at Wake Forest much the same. So they'll just be gone. You know, after this game tomorrow, a lot of people are going to go in a different direction. They'll graduate and go. So it's a little bit of a, you know, just another stage in their life. And I think that we're all going to go through those things, and they need to embrace that. So it was a great day. I think emotional day, but I think our players are ready to play. They've been you know, focusing on this point towards the entire bowl season.
Again, from
Dave, after going into the Military Bowl and Gulf Bowl, it seemed like the players used losses in the regular season finale to kind of fuel themselves over that month going into. Have you seen kind of the same thing? I know these are different players than a lot of the ones were 2 or 3 years ago. Have you seen some of the same?
You know, kind of, I think every year is different and unique, and the leadership and the character and the fabric of every team is different. And you know, one of these years I'd like to try it the other way, but I do feel our team is focused, and I think, you know, one of the things of the bowl game is we haven't played in really almost 4 weeks, and so, you know, the momentum of winning that last game or losing it, you know, that transition, you have a whole month. You're almost starting new and starting fresh. In a lot of ways, bowls feel a little bit more like openers than a regular season conference game or non-conference game.
additional questions? Second row and first row?
Mark, I know you said the number of goals to win, obviously, and you talked a little bit last week about the quarterbacks. Are you gonna have a plan going in of how you wanna play your quarterbacks, or is it just gonna be kind of by feel? Obviously Brian's starting, but is it kind of from feel at that point, or do you have a set plan?
No, we don't have a set plan. We're gonna go as we go. You know, we're gonna go to win the football game. We've given our quarterbacks, all 4 of them, really a lot of time. Just like Dave said, you know, we use the early part of this bowl practice is almost like spring practice. We've played a lot of true freshmen, so it's just an opportunity to reset a little bit for those guys and to sort of slow things down and then speed it back up again. So I think that was a big positive experience for them as well. But from our quarterback's situation, we're gonna play to win. So whatever quarterback gives us the best chance to do that, as we move forward, that's what we'll do.
Mark, with all the guys you had returning on defense this year, they talked about wanting to be the best that we've had in your tenure. Obviously, there were some rocky spots in there. What from these guys, assuming they all are going to play, what do you see from them going into the last game? Because it was kind of a collective decision to all come back this year, it seemed like.
Yeah, I think a sense of refocus, a sense of okay, when we lost Joe Bocci, you know, who was going to emerge as a senior. I think Kenny, as a senior leader, I think Kenny Willikus did a great job with that, and Raekwon as well, David Dow. Tyreek Thompson stepped up, filled the middle backer situation. So when you lose a player like that, it affects you. But I think it's brought everybody together, and we're going to play through it. So they're focused.
Mark, I know
you said a lot of your players hadn't been in New York City before, but I was curious how many of those sites that you guys saw this week have you personally been to, and maybe Yankee Stadium, even have you been here?
No, I've never been to Yankee Stadium, so that's one. I've never been to the Stock Exchange, certainly. That's another. I've not been on to a show here, so I saw that as well, and I've not been to the memorial, so those are new things that I've experienced. To go up on the 102nd floor of the One World Trade Center is a unique experience, especially the way it's all basically formulated for you to see. So all those experiences were unique to me as well. And, again, I go back to what Coach Clawson said, the structure of this bowl game and the way it's run by the Yankee organization, the Pinstripe Bowl, has been second to none. It's been a great experience.
Dave, in the past month, how much healthier has your team gotten from the end of the Syracuse game?
I mean, we're healthier. I think a lot of it in the season is just the nature of those, bumps and bruises, that it's not only the players who are out, but the players who aren't at 100% or full speed. And we gave those guys some time off. Some of them weren't able to practice. And, some of them will be able to come back. Others, it'll be a game time decision. We'll be better than we were, but, never where you want to be.
Additional questions?
Mark, I know you said that Daryl might be able to give it a go. What would it mean for him, and how badly does he want to get that last game in?
Well, Darryl Stewart wants to play football, there's no question about that. It'll be a game time decision just in terms of, he was able to practice and get in pads this last week, so, you're gonna play the best guy, gives you the best chance to win at that position, but, he can see the field, and that's positive for us, I think, emotionally as much as anything, but, really what's happened to us is we've had a lot of young players play over the course. True freshmen, as a result of that, they've gotten better. So feel pretty good about our wide receiver position, but they'll be available for this.
Any more? Conrad?
Actually, a question for both of you guys, because Mark, you experienced this last year with Justin Lane sitting out and then with Kenny playing and getting hurt. How have you guys tried to navigate that with players in terms of talking them through the process of whether to play, whether to sit out?
From my perspective, our players, not one of them even basically went in that direction, and that was very refreshing because it spoke to a team effort, which that's what football is. It's the ultimate team sport, I think. So really never even had to address that with them. They made a decision to come back as they did last year, and I think they want to see it through. I'm very appreciative of that.
And fortunately, we had a similar situation that it never even became a discussion for any of our players. I think, when you look at the bowl history of Wake Forest, it's not something that we take for granted. And it takes a lot of hard work to get to a bowl of this caliber, and this is a reward for their season. And, we haven't had players opt out for their professional future career. And, the reality is a lot of the NFL teams look at these bowl games to evaluate them. So there's a lot they can do to help their future by playing in the bowl.
Any more questions? Thank you very much, coaches. Appreciate your time today, and good luck, and looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow.
All right,
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Mike, we're done for today?